Hey everybody, this is Tim Wolf. I just got done yesterday with 2 amazing days here in Nashville. The National Achievers Congress. It's something that I hadn't even been aware of. It's put on by Success Resources America, which is an organization. I'd never heard of it. And apparently they've been putting these on, but this was the first 2-day event that they've ever had, and they had it in Nashville, which was very fortunate for me. It came across my feed in my Instagram, and they were advertising it, and the least expensive ticket was $19, which is amazingly inexpensive. And the headliners they were advertising was Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk, VaynerMedia. All those people plus a bunch of other folks for 2 days. I bought a ticket, and then actually Thursday morning when it was time to go to the first time, I almost didn't go. I just was like, man, this is going to be a waste of my time. I should be writing music, doing things like that. Thank God I went. I will say that 1 year ago, I wouldn't have known who any of those people were. I knew who Tony Robbins was. I don't think there's any person who's not living in a cave in the U.S. who doesn't know who Tony Robbins is. But to me, he was a punchline, some motivational guru guy that was all rah-rah and something to be laughed at. I mean, there are folks who think of him that way. And it was only really that kind of changed my mind a little bit was someone I met online in a class, a fellow musician, artist, who's traveled a lot higher than I have, Shanti Leone. I've communicated a lot with her on Messenger and Facebook and whatnot. I've not met her face to face, but she's been very giving with her time and with her knowledge. She actually first referred me to the KBB program, which is a knowledge-based business blueprint. I don't know what the last B stands for, which is a program that Dean and Tony are pushing right now, selling, promoting, and they had an online promotion it was on Tuesday of this week, and I watched that. And I skipped out early because the Celtics were playing, and I actually thought, this is not for me because I don't really want to do knowledge-based stuff, blah, blah, blah. I kind of had barriers up. But I wouldn't have even have listened to that if Shanti hadn't talked about how Tony was one of her favorite guys. And then I talked to another one of my friends, Jimmy Davis, and he told me that he loved Tony Robbins. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. And I got to say that it was life-changing. And I've even signed up for his the UPW, the program, the 3.5-day program. I've signed up for that, and I'm going to be doing that sometime in the future, where the first day you walk across the coals, all that sort of stuff. His stuff works. It's absolutely amazing. Just 4 hours, the guy is a worldwide treasure. He's someone said that he's the best speaker we'll ever see, one of a kind that we'll ever see in my lifetime. And I got to admit it. I mean, he was there for 4 hours, and it was all genuine, and there's no hype, and it's got definite results. I'm on board. I'm going to embrace all of the teachings that he has and try to implement them and understand the mindset. And hopefully, I wish I'd come to this conclusion earlier in my life, but if it's never too late. Gary V, who was someone I'd never heard of, Gary Vaynerchuk, 1 year ago, May 4th, 2018, I didn't know who he was. And it was only through a company that I started working with. Unfortunately, spent a lot of money with them out of New York, and they compared themselves to Gary Vee, said that they did what he did, but did it better and did it cheaper. And did that a couple of times, some emails and also in conversations. Anyway, I didn't know who he was. And the thing to me, I feel like I've entered this alternative universe in a way, because I met people at this event that were so gung-ho. I met this Nellie. I met this woman who lives in Greater Nashville, and she said that she's been following Gary Vee for years. And I'm like, 1 year ago, I didn't even know who this guy was. I guess one of the books he wrote was the Thank You Economy. I saw that in his bio, and I'd heard of that book, but I guess that's as far as it went. I didn't know the name Gary Vaynerchuk. That name didn't ring a bell to me, even though I think I remember the book a few years back. So, I mean, he's a rock star. Social media. People do videos of when they actually. There was a 2-hour video that I happened to watch of somebody who paid $10,000 to have a 1-day session with Gary and his team in New York, and the entire 2-hour video was talking about what that was like. I mean, like this guy's, some sort of a supernatural person, and the people that follow him, and his stuff. I've been starting to watch his videos, and I subscribe to him on Instagram. His stuff is amazing, and another mentor resource that is just amazing. I'm going to tap into as much as I can. Here's one more thing that I wanted to add. After I finished that 1-hour video, I was reading my emails, and I saw a reference to another coach a music coach that I'm a member of his group, his Mastermind Group, and he sent an email out with a picture of him standing next to Gary Vee, and he talked about, he said it was a birthday gift he gave himself, and he talked about how while Gary Vee was in Nashville, he had a small group meeting with, I guess, 15 people, based on interpolating how many people were there, 12 to 15 people, and it was $3,000 a piece. It was a 2-hour meeting, and all you was promised you was one question you could ask Gary and a photo op. And of course, this coach posted I don't know if he'd want me to mention his name, but he posted the picture of him standing next to Gary Vee. It was a great photo. In fact, I saw it yesterday, and I was like, wow, how did he get to see Gary? Well, he explained it today in the email. And I mean, influencing. So Gary, for 2 hours, netted of about $45,000 just for 2 hours of his time. But that's the world we live in. And one thing that Gary said that there were so many things that I wanted to mention in my video. It would have been about 5 hours long if I said all the nuggets that I got. One of the things that Gary was talking about, and it really changed my mindset, because I've been thinking about, this all is going to end. Facebook is going to go away just like MySpace. It's all going to be over. This is only temporary. Gary presented it, no. He said, in fact, he held up his iPhone, I think it was an iPhone, smartphone, and he said, this thing, of course, he's got a potty mouth, so I'm going to repeat what he said. He said, in 15 years, this will be a piece of shit. Right now, it's cutting edge. We're amazed. I mean, Warren Buffett says everything that the iPhone can do should be worth 20 grand because it can do so many different things. But he said in 15 years, this iPhone is going to be archaic. And if you look back at technology 15 years ago, think of the cell phones that we were listening to or using. Yeah, they are archaic now. They look funny. And that trend isn't going to slow down. It's going to speed up. And in my own mind, I've been like, no, it's not. No, it's not. We're going to reach a plateau. I'm like, why are you thinking this way? You need to open your mind, I'm telling myself. So the world is changing at a rapid pace. We can either get on and keep up and keep learning. It's a very exciting time to be alive. The most exciting time as far as technology and opportunities ever in the history of our world. And you can either be excited about it or push back. One of the things that Gary Vee also said, he said, social media did not change us. All of the division, all of the negativity that's on. One of the other coaches said the best thing you can do is stop watching the news, because all they do is, by definition, the news wants your eyeballs, so they create fear and they create division, because that's what makes them money. And that's why we're so divided. So whatever your political spectrum, just think about that. Basically, the evening news, whichever side you're on, whichever your favorite flavor is, it's always about, if it bleeds, it leads. And that's because the negativity will draw the eyeballs, and you need the eyeballs to get the advertising dollars. And so by definition, news is going to be controversial and rile you up and get you excited, especially in this day and age we're so deeply divided. And the best thing we can do, that's negative energy. Tony Robbins talked about putting ourselves in a beautiful state and write a letter. I'm writing a letter to myself, and I'm going to send one to him. He gave us an email address. He says he reads them all. Decide that in 90 seconds, if we ever get depressed or angry, that we only have 90 seconds to get ourselves out of it. And he taught us how to do that. And keep your mind in a beautiful state. And it sounds hokey pokey, but no, it's not. I'm on board. I understand. 4 hours with Tony changed my life. So, I mean, if you want to be in that angry state, which I can easily get into, yeah, continue watching news on TV. But if you want to live a more beautiful life, pull the plug on that. In fact, he even went even further, and he said, this wasn't Gary Vee, it was the guy that blew himself up, and I can't remember his name right now. He said, get rid of your TV completely. That's extreme. I grew up without a TV as a kid, and I survived. Something to consider. But anyway, some more added things that I want to talk about. Just amazing mind. I can't process all the things I learned. And the world is changing, and it's so exciting, and I'm so happy to be on it. Anyway, Dean Graziosi, I hope I pronounced his name right, in this KBB program, I actually bought into that. I purchased it, and I'm going to see how that goes. I'm going to do the training, and one of the things they talked over and over was you need to continue to train yourself and improve, take classes, have mentors, things like that, and I'm going to embrace that. Again, I feel like I wish I'd done this early in my life, but like Gary Vee, he does swear a lot. I don't think he can say a sentence without using the F word, based on empirical evidence. Anyway, one of his statements was, if you're 63 years old in the U.S., you're going to live for another 40 years. So why the F are you rolling it up now? Why are you closing it up now? Now, I'm younger than 63, but his point is well taken. I mean, there's a lot of years left. I plan to live for another 50 years. So I have a whole life ahead of me, and no time to stop now. So that's what. Tony's challenge at the end was to write a letter to ourselves and to decide that we're going to stay in a beautiful state of mind. He talked about, and he says, well, if you allow yourself to get down, which I do. I mean, I fight suffering, depression, anger. Those are my two sufferings. And whatever it is, a negative state, a state that's not up, high energy, happy, motivated, just so excited to be alive. And he embodies that. And it's not just a rah-rah thing. He showed how your physiology changes that. And now I understand why at church they ask you to stand up, because your physiology, you're where you are. And he demonstrated it. He demonstrated it, and conclusively, I understand now. I mean, your physiology, your shape of your position of your body actually, and he said there's scientific research where they've actually measured the physiological things in the body, and I don't remember the exact scientific definition, but it is scientifically proven that these things do change your body physiologically, your shape, your body, how you're standing, how your posture, these sort of things. Blew my mind. So much to take in. It was like trying to drink from a fire hose, a proverbial fire hose. So just absolutely amazing stuff. I mean, my biggest concern is how am I going to take it all in and onboard it all, because it's going to take time to learn it, and then you just don't get it in your mind, and then actually it's going to be immediately implemented. That's not the situation. You have to practice it, and you have to practice it. It's like one of the speakers, I lose track of who said what, but one of the speakers said there's a difference between an action and an activity. An action, you do it a couple of times. An activity, you do it over and over and over and over until it's in your basic muscle memory, your mental memory, your muscle memory. You can do it without thinking. And that's what basketball players do. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry. They shot until when they're under stress, they still do the same thing. Ray Allen was a Celtic. I'm a big Celtics fan. He would try to stress his body because the biggest shot of his career was when they were playing the Spurs, and they were down, I think, by 5 points, and with like 30 seconds left, people were already leaving, and there was a rebound that can't remember who got it on the Heat, and they passed it out to Ray Allen, and he hit a pressure three. I mean, the biggest shot of his career, and it tied the game, if I remember correctly, and sent it in overtime. And then they won that game, and they later went on to win the series and win the NBA trophy. And the Spurs, Tim Duncan said that's his biggest regret, that game, because they had it in hand and they lost it. Anyway, Ray Allen, huge rabbit trail there, which is what I do. That's my habit. Ray Allen would duplicate the pressure situation and shoot threes. And I don't know how he would do that, but somehow he would put himself under pressure and practice. And because you have to exercise something. You have to do the action over and over and over until it's so ingrained that you don't have to think about it. And even when you're under stress, it's still going to work. And that's not just athletics, or in my case, music, playing guitar. I do scales. I don't even think about them. I'm playing riffs and do them without mentally thinking about it. My fingers are going and my mind can be doing something else. And that's any guitar player who reaches a certain level, or any other musician. It's through repetition. And so you do the same thing with your practices, your mental practices, and things of that nature. So another takeaway I had, another woman I met, Jennifer, and she said that she went to the entire 2 days, and she was very excited. She said she loved the seminar, but she said she didn't hear anything new, and that she had heard everything before because she watches everybody's YouTube videos and she listens to their podcasts, all these people, Gary Vee and Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and so on. And I'm thinking to myself, where have I been? Because, 1 year ago, this was a world that I was unfamiliar with. I mean, I knew, again, like I said, I knew who Tony Robbins was, but I didn't know anybody who had done anything with him, gone to any of his programs. UPW, which is something I'm going to be going to. That's where 3.5 day event that people say is mind blowing and life changing. I'd never known anyone who had done anything with him or even wanted to. And maybe I have the wrong circle of friends. Maybe I was in the wrong, I needed to upgrade or change the people I hang out with. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not trying to put anybody down. Maybe myself, maybe they were there and I just didn't see it. But I'm where I'm at now, and I'm moving forward this way, hopefully in a different angle, different tangent. So, there's just a whole group of people that think like this and realize that what's in here is more important than the external. And Gary Vee said that if you take control or you take responsibility for everything that's happened to you, that is liberating. Don't blame it on anybody else or anything else, external circumstances. I made the choices. I put myself in every situation that I've been through, everything that has happened in my life. I need to own it, take responsibility for it, and that's liberating. And it sets you up for so much more in your life. So I was going to, first let me take a sip of coffee. This is my Beetle County Electric Co-op here in South Dakota. Shout out to South Dakota. And still have this mug grew up in Carpenter, South Dakota. Beetle County. All right, so I'm going to talk about all the different speakers and what I took away from it. The first one was a speaker, Wayne Gray, talked about the Deal Desk, which is a real estate, the DealDesk.com, which is a real estate company that helps you buy real estate. And it was a good presentation, but I didn't. That wasn't something that I was really interested in. It didn't compel me to get involved with that. But I recorded every session on my phone, audio, and I may go back and listen to that. But that wasn't something that struck a chord with me, so to speak. Next was Steve Sitkowski, Interactive Trader, and that one really resonated with me. And I did buy their course. Interactive Trader, what they do, they teach you how to trade stocks. And not just stocks, but options, and do covered positions. So, for example, if you own a stock, which means you're long, then you buy a put, which protects you, that if it would ever go down, that you could still make the money because the put protects you. It's a basic premise. The put is an instrument that allows you to sell that stock at a prescribed price. And so, for example, if you bought a $100 strike price put and the stock went down to $50, that put would be worth nominally $50. I mean, there's frictional costs there, but you would make a $50 profit. And so you would protect yourself from, and then there are other things. I mean, they have only a certain amount of time. If they run out, if it expires, it's like insurance policy that has a finite limit. But I used to trade futures and traded a ton of options and futures. And early on in my futures trading career, I made $250,000, and that was actually unfortunate because I thought I knew what I was doing when I didn't, and I gave all of that back over the next probably 5-7 years. I remember one time there was a $70,000 call, and tough times. But now it's been some years, and I'm excited to get back. I have money to invest, and I want to do it, and I need a mechanism. I need some sort of a plan, and the world has changed so much in the last 10 years even. I'm not interested in futures. Futures to me are too volatile. They're too small of a market, too thinly traded. And but the stocks, employing those same kinds of principles in stock market is really exciting for me. So I am super excited about taking that class. And the benefit of it is that if you take the class, you can get all your money back. I think it was a $600 class fee, 3-day class, something like that. And if you take the class and go through the exercises and then make some trades, I don't remember how many trades, they will write you a check for the cost of your class. So, but he said a lot of people don't even pay for the class and don't even come to it. So it's like getting coupons. They're expecting you, a large percentage of people to get coupons don't redeem them. That's why if you have an item, refrigerator, anything, could be anything, could be a refrigerator, could be a microphone, could be a guitar, and you have a coupon and said, okay, this item costs $100 and here's a $20 coupon. The reason they don't mark it down to $80 is because they're not going to actually have to, that $20 cost is not going to be all come back to them. Probably less than 50% of the people actually redeem the coupons. And there's also the time value of money, because there's a period of time that they often take forever to pay you. Anyway, rabbit trail again. But I'm going to go through and I'm going to get my money back on that from the class, and I'm going to have a program how to trade future stocks, and super excited. Can't wait. The guy gave an incredible presentation. And I feel that the National Achievers Congress vetted these folks, and there wasn't anyone there who was not reputable. If you go to their website, they all have like 5-star, 5 out of 5, Better Business Bureau ratings, things like that. So next, actually, was Daymond John from Shark Tank, FUBU. And yeah, I've watched Shark Tank. I love Shark Tank. I don't watch it that much. I try not to watch a lot of TV, but he has been one of my favorite. I love his vibe on the show. He's always so chill, laid back, and never mean. He had some really funny jokes. Who's the Shark Tank guy with the I don't remember his name right now. Kevin. Yeah, Kevin. Kevin is the guy that everybody loves to hate. He's the guy who always would offer, I haven't watched it in a while, but he would say, I'll give you the money, but you need to give me $1 per item that you sell for eternity, something like that. And nobody ever would take him up. And finally somebody did. I think it was with these brownies in a jar or something like that. And they just raised their price. Last time I checked, they seem to be doing okay. Anyway, Kevin, he had a lot of funny memes of making fun of Kevin. Phenomenal presentation. I didn't know his story. I didn't know how he came up. I didn't realize that he started as clothing line for hip hop. One of the things he did guerrilla marketing. He asked people on the pull down, you have these like overhead door type things that go down in front of stores in metropolitan areas. And he would go to them and ask them if he could spray paint his logo on those doors. They'd only be seen when they were down, but they're down probably, depending if they close at 5 till it gets dark, it's visible. And people would let him do it. And he got a lot of free advertising. He even said he had some pictures of them, and he said some of them are still on the doors in stores to this day. So he did a lot of different things. He went to a trade show in Las Vegas and couldn't afford to have a booth. So he set up in got a hotel room. And this is mind-blowing. This was in the 80s, I think. And he said that he booked $300,000 worth of orders. And he had no production plant. He had nothing. He just had samples. And he booked $300,000 worth of orders and didn't have a way to make it. And then he came home and figured out a way to make it. And he made it in his house. His mom helped him. His friends helped him. Just a mind-blowing story, which, I knew he'd been in the clothing line. I'd heard of FUBU, but I didn't hear his entire story. It was just so inspirational. He's a great speaker. His company's $6 billion in sales. I didn't realize it was that large. Amazing. That was inspiring. Hi, this is Tim Wolf. Thanks so much for watching my video. Please remember to like below, follow my channel, and comment. Give me comments below what you thought, what you liked about the video. Till next time.